Alright, now to access the Sunflower eLibrary, all you will need to do is go to our website, scroll down on the front page, and you should see an icon here that says Sunflower eLibrary. Alternatively, you can go to the Books, Movies, and More page, then scroll down and find either the ebooks or audiobooks links that are underneath our downloadable section. And then right up here you'll see a logo that says Sunflower eLibrary. You can click either here or you can go to the link right here. Alright, and it should bring you to this page right here where I'll ask you to sign in. The first thing you'll need to do is to select the library, and you can see Manhattan Public Library is one of the choices offered. And once we select that, you're going to want to put in your library card number and your PIN. And once you've entered in your login information, you'll come up with this page. And as a brief overview, you can search for titles up here, and you can choose to search just ebooks, audiobooks, music, or videos. And you can also check to select only available copies. And also there's an advanced search feature. The advanced search feature allows you to go more in depth in terms of your search. You can search using keyword, creator, which would be the same as an author. You can also select by languages available, publisher, subject, any award winners, and then you can also select how many results per page you wish to show. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to select Adobe EPUB ebook as the format that we wish for this advanced search. And the reason for this is the most compatible format and it'll work for pretty much all e-readers with the exception of the Kindle. Now, there's another option where you can do a PDF ebook, and that also will work for many devices, but I highly suggest using the Adobe EPUB ebook. Now, if you have a Kindle, of course you're going to select the Kindle book, and that will be covered in another video. So, alright, we selected our format. The language will just keep the same. You can also select, as I mentioned earlier, different publisher, specific subjects like fantasy, education, mystery, history, different awards, and let's see here. Let's go ahead and we'll check this checkbox because I only want to see titles that have copies available. And we're going to hit search. Alright, now that will take us here to our search results, and we're going to see that there's a bunch of different books available. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to pick a random book from here just to show you what the whole checkout process is like. Now, as you can see here, you're going to see the title of the book. There's going to be a cover of the book along with a short summary and description. If you want to see more about it, you just simply click right here on the title of the book or also on the book cover itself. And then here you'll see that it's available in Kindle book format and Adobe EPUB format. Now up here is the most important thing. You'll see that it's available copies 1 and library copies 1. Now basically what this means is this up here shows how many copies are available of this particular book, and then underneath it shows how many copies of the book are available to the library. Now let's go ahead and check this out. So first what we're going to do is click over here where it says add to cart and make sure that it's right next to the Adobe EPUB ebook. Alright, that's selected. It's going to come up here saying, do we wish to continue browsing? If you wanted to add more books and just do a checkout with like say 3 or even 4 or 5 books at a time, you can. You would just simply check out one book, then hit continue browsing, and it would take you back to your results page, and then you'd be able to select more books to check out at once. I'm going to go ahead and hit proceed to checkout. Now, You're able to choose the lending period. By default, it's to 7-day checkout, but I can select up to 2 weeks. And in here, if you want to check to see if your device is supported, this right here where it says use on, and then it has this link here if it says ebook compatible computers and devices. If you click on that, it'll bring up a new page, or basically what it'll do is it'll show you what devices are supported and by what formats. So as you can see here, if I scroll down to the bottom, it'll say ebook readers and portable devices. I'd select ebook readers, and then I'd select EPUB. And then it would show me all of the books, or excuse me, all the e-readers that support the Adobe EPUB format. And you can also do this with portable devices to see what supports MP3, WMA files, or even the videos. And it'll real-time change, as you can see here. Let's go back here. Now, down here, it'll say your account notes. It'll show you how many checkouts allowed at one time on my library card. 5. And it'll show you how many you have checked out. In my case, I haven't checked out anything, so it's 0. And then it's going to show you how many checkouts remaining once I get this item. So let's go ahead and confirm checkout. Now, you're going to need a certain type of software to be able to download the Adobe EPUB ebook to your e-reader. It's going to be called Adobe Digital Editions, and I'm going to show you how to get that software. Now, to download Adobe Digital Editions, you can simply click on this link down here that says click here to download the software needed to use this Adobe EPUB ebook title. And it'll open up a new window, and then here you'll see Get Adobe Digital Editions will be a massive icon, or you can click on the link right next to it that says to download Adobe Digital Editions, click here. And then it'll open up a new window as well, and it'll take you to Adobe's website. And here, if you scroll down, there should be a tan colored button that says Install. And if you click on that button, it'll allow you to install it. And I'm going to have to click Install again. And this requires Adobe Flash. And then it will come up with a message that says Adobe Digital Editions Installer. Press yes to download and continue the installation of Adobe Digital Editions. So we'll hit yes. Now, if you're using Windows 7 or Windows Vista, you might get this message pop up where it'll ask you to confirm that you want this program to run. We're going to go ahead and hit yes. And it'll come up with the Adobe Digital Edition setup. And here we're going to want to select whichever options that we want. And you can have it where there's a start menu shortcut, a shortcut on your desktop, or even a quick launch shortcut. In my case, all I'm going to want is a shortcut on the desktop, as well as the one on the start menu. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and it'll ask me where I want to install it. The default location should be more than enough. I'm going to go ahead and hit install right down here, and it'll go ahead and install the program. Once it's completed, you can hit close, and then it'll go ahead and launch. And I'll ask you to confirm and agree to Adobe Digital Editions license agreement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit I agree. Once I've read all of this, and then it'll pop up with Adobe Digital Editions. Once Adobe Digital Editions open, it will come up with a setup assistant. This setup assistant will ask you to basically set up digital editions. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by clicking continue. Now the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to get an Adobe ID. It's free, easy, and basically to get one you would click here on this link. and it'll pop up with a new web page, and here you can create an Adobe account. If you already have one, you can just simply authorize computer here within the Adobe Digital Edition setup by typing in your Adobe ID, which is your email address, and then the password. Once you have set up your Adobe ID, you're going to go ahead and type in your Adobe ID as well as your password into the field that I showed you previously. And then you're going to hit the Activate button. Once that happens, you'll come to this screen here that will say Activate Digital Editions. Thank you for activating Adobe Digital Editions. Now we're going to go ahead and click Finished right down here in the bottom right corner. Once that happens, you'll come up with this view right here. If you have Windows 7 or Windows Vista, again, you might have a message that pops up from User Account Control that says, do you want to allow the following program from an unknown publisher to make changes to this computer? We're going to go ahead and click Yes. Once that happens, you've got Adobe Digital Editions on your computer now. So let's go ahead and let's switch back to the Sunflower E-Library. I'm going to go ahead and close the two tabs that had the Get Adobe Digital Editions as well as the window that had where I actually download Adobe Digital Editions from adobe.com. Just those two websites. And I should get this screen back here where it says download and it has the book. Now that we have Adobe Digital Editions, we're going to go ahead and click download right here. And it's going to come up with a message. Depending on your browser, this message might look differently, but it'll ask you either to open or to save the file. We're going to want to open. And this is because if you save it, basically you're going to save it somewhere on your computer and then you're going to have to find it. But we just want to go ahead and open it. That way, what we can do is that we can just simply open it up into Digital Editions. So I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to open up Adobe Digital Editions. It's going to come up with a message saying it's downloading the document. And we'll wait here just a second just to wait for it to be finished. All right, it's going to go ahead and open up the book for us. And here, if you want, you can actually read the book on your computer. And you can go and look at all the different features of this, such as skipping the chapters and such. However, what we're going to want to do is, since we're going to want to transfer to our e-reader, what we'll need to do next is to hook up our e-reader device to our computer by the way of a USB port. So let me go ahead and hook up my device to there. Now that I have attached my e-reader device via USB to the computer itself, it's going to pop up with this message here from Adobe Digital Editions that says, Device Setup Assistant. A mobile device has been detected. Now, in my case, it's a mobile smartphone, but you can also hook it up to different ebook readers. And it will say over here that a ebook reader device, or it'll just display what type of device you're hooking up to. But it's the same procedure. So what will happen is it will say that we'll need to authorize this device. And we can do that by simply clicking on Authorize Device right down here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Your device has been successfully authorized, and it will say how many items are in certain formats supported by digital editions that were found on your device. And we're going to go ahead and close the window by clicking Finished. Now, to transfer this book right here over to our ebook reader, what we're going to need to do is over here on the top left side of Adobe Digital Editions, you're going to see this icon here that's highlighted in yellow, and you'll see it says Go to Reading View when I hover over it. we're going to want to click on the bookshelf type looking icon that's to the left of it, and it says go to library view. Click on that. Now over here you're going to see the book that's right over here, and this is the one that we just downloaded. Now over here you're going to see that my ebook reader is an Aldeco device. You might have a Nook or a Sony e-reader or another device. Now to transfer it, all we need to do is just simply click and hold using a left click on the book itself and then start dragging. Now you're going to notice that suddenly it's going to have like a image of the book as I'm dragging it around with my mouse, and there's a red circle with an X through it right now. Now if I keep dragging this book over, notice what happens when I drag it over to right above my e-reader device that's listed over here on the left side of Adobe Digital Editions. You notice how that red icon, that circle that's next to the mouse cursor, turns into a green circle with a plus sign? What that signifies now is that if I let go, it's going to transfer to my device, and that's what we want. So let me go ahead and let go. Boom. It's going to copy the file over to our e-reader, and there you go. It's on our e-reader device ready to be read. Now, one last thing before I leave, well actually two last things, is that if you ever want to return a book early, you just simply go to your Adobe Digital Editions, and right up here there should be a, looks like a play icon that's right over here next to the book. We're going to click on it, and it says item options when I hover over it. Let me left click on here, and it's going to give you options such as opening the item, deleting the item. The one that we're interested in is return borrowed item. Now this is if you need to return your item earlier, like let's say that you have it checked out for 14 days but you end up reading the book within 7 and you want to return it that way you can get another book. This is how you would do it. So, but I won't do that here since I want to read my book first, but just keep this in mind for when you want to return your book. Now the last thing that we're going to want to do is that there should be an icon if you're using Windows that will allow you to safely eject your e-reader device. And it'll look like a little USB port, and it'll have a green check mark on it. And if you click on it, it'll give you the option to eject the device. And once you eject that device, in this case your e-book reader, you'll be able to read the book and find it on your device. I hope this tutorial helps you in terms of being able to check out books from Sunflower eLibrary. And remember, the basic things that you'll need to do is go to our website, find a book that you want in the format that you wish, add it to your cart, go through the checkout process, download and install Adobe Digital Editions, connect your ebook reader device and authorize it with Adobe Digital Editions, finish checking out your book from Sunflower eLibrary, that way it downloads into Adobe Digital Editions, and then transfer it to your device. Now I hope you enjoyed this tutorial video on how to download from Sunflower eLibrary, and this video can be located under the Books, Movies, and More page, under the eBooks section specifically. Now, this is Mark Nash signing off from Manhattan Public Library, and happy reading.